I knew that was going to happen. I was actually, I was worried about that. And I didn't check before I started the live stream, but I think we're good now. You guys give me a thumbs up in chat if we're good. It's the first live stream for drafting of the year. So I'm not surprised that there was some tech difficulty going on there. I'm going to keep refreshing this. We got 9 in here. So yeah, let's see how everyone's doing. How you guys doing, chat? I'm very excited. I updated my rankings today. You can check them out over on Patreon, patreon.com/@lateroundfantasy. Check those out. You can get the DraftKings CSV to upload yourself and see where all my rankings are. The way my rankings work, for the record, is I have my season-long rankings that I kind of have as my baseline, and then I adjust those rankings based on DraftKings ADP and some adjustments that I make to make sure that they're applicable over on DK. So it allows you to see who I'm generally going to be higher on. So like the guys that I'm higher on will rank better. But it's not going to be like so out of control and so season long focused that you're not going to be able to use them for best ball. Let's give another quick refresh here. Still at 9. I don't know what's going on here. Hey, if you guys are listening, join this contest. El Oso says those ranking updates were clutch today. Thank you. We got Mr. Bob Harris chilling out. What's going on, Bob? One of the nicest human beings in this space. I say it every time. Every time I see your smiling face in chat. All right, we might as well talk about this since this draft isn't starting. Does the J.K. Dobbins signing affect your R.J. Harvey preference? Yeah, I mean, I think it needs to impact things to some degree. I'm going to refresh one more time to see how many, because whenever it sits on here, okay, so there's one more. When it sits on this screen, it doesn't automatically update. You have to refresh to see how many are in. So right now we've got 11 out of 12. Yeah, look, I think the J.K. Dobbins signing is not a nothing burger, especially from like a ceiling perspective. I've seen tons of takes. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Getting the 101 in the first live stream of the season. Getting the 101. We're just going to go Jamar Chase. We get in the 101 spot. We might be in that dilemma that I talked about on becoming a best ball bro, where you stack Bengals and then you want to get Burrow, but Hurts is still there, and I have Hurts comfortably ahead of Burrow. So it'll be interesting to see what we do here. I kind of like also in this spot stacking Bengals with Cardinals because that week 17 correlation, and then going with Kyler instead of Joe Burrow. Because I think the gap between Kyler and Burrow in fantasy this year is not as, or is smaller than the gap between Hurts and Burrow. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know, but I just think Burrow is just generally overvalued right now. I still have him at RB, still have him at QB5, but there's a big gap after the big 4. But going back to the RJ Harvey stuff, I do think that it matters. Like, someone said, I believe in RJ Harvey Dent. I think that the Dobbins move says more about Audric Estime than it does about, RJ Harvey and what they have in RJ Harvey. And I do think that Dobbins could steal some work, long and distance stuff and whatnot, but RJ Harvey's really explosive. They're going to get him looks, in the passing game, which is what we really want in fantasy. Sean Payton talked about that, and it's like RJ Harvey has some pass pro issues. But Sean Payton has addressed that, and he basically said, hey, look, when he's on the field, we're going to, we can have a tight end out there doing the running back's job and blocking, right? So I'm not like overly concerned about, what this move means, but it is like, I think that it'll hopefully make RJ Harvey more attractive because his ADP falls, as opposed to you having to kind of reach for him where he's been going in drafts. I'll talk about it on the mailbag this week. It's going to be easier to talk about it there. Yeah, Jaquan, I agree. Hoping that Dobbins drives Harvey's ADP down. You aren't going to take him in the 4th or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I hope that's where things are at. Like at first, I was like, oh, I'm going to definitely be in on Harvey, but then his ADP just kind of kept going up and not being as attractive. By the way, you see my name, JJpedia. It's actually hilarious that I have to draft as that name. It was a gamer tag that I was using once, and I had some issues with my DK account from back whenever I was at FanDuel. Should I even mention FanDuel since this is sponsored by DraftKings? But as you guys know, I was an employee at FanDuel a long time ago, and there was like the merger stuff happening and all that, and there were some questions about, what we had to do stuff with our accounts basically. So I essentially had to have this other account, and I was like, well, whatever. It's just a DraftKings account. I'm just going to make it my gamer tag that I made as like a joke a handful of years ago. And then it ended up being my username, and you can't really change things like that now that sports betting's legal and stuff. And now you guys get to see me stream as JJpedia. Xbox, PlayStation, or PC? Xbox. I'm not super active on it anymore just because I have kids and I'm working on the draft guide. Played a little bit of Marvel from maybe February, March into like the NFL draft. And then I kind of stopped because I had more work to do. But I was playing Marvel Rivals a little bit. It was fun. I was a big Overwatch guy. So it was an easy transition for me. Nothing crazy so far. Pretty wide receiver heavy. We haven't seen Genty go off the board yet. Genty's my next player, but I am lower than the market on Genty. Derrick Henry before Genty. I am a little bit lower than the market. Now you see that I have him ranked 10th and his ADP is 9.5. That's only based on the fact that like I'm weighing ADP in my rankings to kind of get them to be super usable over on DraftKings. Interesting start though. JJ world-class Lucio, man. That's right, man. That's right. Back in the day on Overwatch. So yeah, I mean, like the classic turn from the one spot in this format is generally Trey McBride and T. Higgins, because you get the stack with Jamar Chase, you get the bring back with Trey McBride. It's a pretty good spot to be, but Trey McBride just went, so we're not going to get that. Pretty quick for McBride. It's going to put me in not the most desirable situation, because it's usually pretty easy to just click those names. We'll see, though. We'll see. It's a tough spot to be in, too. Like, I don't like, I'm not like in love with Josh Jacobs, and I'm not in love with Jonathan Taylor. So it'll be interesting, to see who survives there. Josh Jacobs just got drafted. I mean, I'm high on Rashee Rice, so I could just start with 3 wide receivers here. If not, I'll just get JT. So he went Jonathan Taylor. I think I got to go T. Higgins, obviously, and then I think I'm going to go to Rashee Rice as well. So we're going to start with this like 0 RB type build with Chase, Higgins, and Rice. See how it goes. How important is making stacks out of your first 3 picks? I feel like it's harder to get those stacks unless you take Allen or Lamar round 3. Yeah, I mean, you obviously want your players to, your good players to be correlated in some way, but it's not something that I've like, will stress too much. Yeah, week 10's a brutal buy, but I'm not going to get Mahomes, I don't think, if I end up getting Burrow. So Hurts just got drafted as QB1. Josh Allen just got drafted. So, if we do get earlier quarterbacks in this draft, like I'll be more okay with kind of reaching, in my opinion, from an ADP perspective, it's not reaching, but reaching for Joe Burrow and just getting that stack. Because again, like even like Jared Goff, who I'm gonna all summer just talk junk about his ADP and regular season long leagues. I'm not as concerned about a guy like Goff or really any quarterback in best ball, just because we know that Goff is capable of a spiked week, and if the spiked week happens at the right time, then that's great, right? So I'm not gonna really be like I don't think he's like a smash, and I don't want to be overweight, but as Liam Murphy talked about on Becoming a Best Ball Bro that dropped today, like at the end of the day, these quarterbacks, your exposure is going to be fairly flat with these guys because you're connecting your quarterbacks with the pass catchers that you draft, right? And so, maybe you're really, really overweight on, I don't know, Calvin Ridley, and so you have a ton of Cam Ward. But generally, that's just not going to happen and fall in line in that way, and that cleanly. So again, like Burrow obviously has weekly upside, so I'm not like saying like you absolutely can't get Burrow at the 4-5 turn. I'm more so just saying that based on all the research I do, touchdown rate regression, I don't think they're going to have as clean of a, I think their defense is going to be better, and they won't have as great of game scripts for fantasy purposes this year. There's a lot of reasons why Burrow, won't repeat his crazy numbers, at least like down the stretch that he had last year, but it's fine. Like it's not, to me, quarterback isn't a big enough deal to get upset about as long as you are correlating and stacking. Ward Ridley example is my reality, says Hartman. Interesting take on the Burrow reach, given your rankings. I'm a full round behind ADP. Would you say the benefits of that? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like when you're using my rankings, hopefully you're looking at your board more than you're looking at the rankings when it comes to stacking and stuff, right? Like, yeah, you shouldn't necessarily draft, but like you can see here, I'll sort by rankings here so you can see. But like Burrow isn't going to show up until 58 when his ADP is 45. So it's more than a round. But like at the end of the day, hopefully if you're using my rankings, you're realizing, oh, I have Jamar Chase and T. Like that's what Becoming a Best Ball Bro is for, is to like learn that you should be stacking and you should be forcing in a quarterback a little bit, maybe by a round at times, because you need that weekly upside, that weekly correlation. Not a ton of surprises, I'd say. There goes Burrow, though, so I'm not even going to get that correlation. This is what you get on DraftKings. So you just pivot. I'm not going to tilt. This is what I learned. Pat Kerrane taught me this, especially. Because look, we have Higgins and Chase. We have a Bengals stack, and maybe another quarterback wide receiver stack during playoff time really comes through. I really want a Kittle to fall. That'd be great. But yeah, we'll react. We will react. Probably go. I mean, honestly, at this point, with oh my God, Travis Kelce in round 4. This is a very quarterback heavy, just given where Burrow went. Shouldn't say very. All right, I'm on the clock. I'm probably going to go Kenneth Walker because I think he's undervalued. Could go Tet McMillan. Maybe go Travis Hunter, but we'll probably go Tet. Tet and Walker feel decent. I mean, Cincinnati gets Arizona, so you're not getting any correlation there. And you get the correlation with these two because they're playing each other in week 17. So we'll go Tet with Kenneth Walker. So Kenneth Walker becomes the anchor, if you will, to this running back room. I'm high on Walker for the record. I know that he will fall further, but you hit a point in the draft here where there's really not a significant delta, in my opinion, between a lot of these players. And so I'm fine with reaching a bit. Like that wall is hit around George Kittle. Like once George Kittle falls off the board, you go to Xavier Worthy, to DK Metcalf. All these players are just kind of the same in terms of like projection and stuff. And that's what happens in fantasy drafts historically, is that, the first 2 rounds of the draft into round 3, first 2.5 rounds, you usually have a pretty solid base. Then things get a little bit murkier, and then they get murkier again as you get into round 5. So I'm not surprised by these like proverbial walls that hit. How do you feel about Carolina this year? I'm optimistic. I thought, the offense played a lot better down the stretch last year. The offensive line's not that bad. I'm going to be lower than the market on Chuba based on the research that I shared this week on yards per route run for these like middle round backs. But Yeah, I mean, like, I think they're fine at cost. I'm not getting a lot of Xavier Legette. I've gotten a little bit of Thielen. I've gotten some Ted McMillan. I'm not like I I I don't mind Bryce Young as like a more of a late round. I need a stack or a third stack or something on my team and getting Bryce Young and just pairing him with like Jalen Coker, Jatavian Sanders, that kind of deal, which we could do here. This is probably gonna be a 3 quarterback, 3 tight end build. So we could go Bryce Young late. Today's episode of running backs made me shaky on my Chuba picks. Yeah, look, I think it's really important because like that new I wrote a newsletter about it today, and it went to Reddit because that's what happens with these newsletters, and I appreciate it. One of the mods always just takes it and posts it, but I was reading some of the comments that people had, the reactions to the article that I wrote. And I think that people just, it's natural they take the things that I'm writing in a really, really black and white way. It's like, oh, fade Chuba. Oh, fade, Tyrone Tracy had a low yards per out run rate. You got to fade them. I'm not fading them based on that one thing. I'm just saying that based on history, this is what happened. This is a bad mark. I kind of view players at ADP, and then I think, okay, what's good about them and what's bad about them? And if there's more things that are bad that stack up, then I'm going to fade those players, right? That's one thing for Chuba that isn't that good, right? There's other things that are fine with him, but that yards per out run thing, makes him more of a fade than a target. Doesn't mean that I'm full fading, just makes him more of a fade. I don't think their line's actually that bad, in my opinion, versus the rest of the league. Do you take Burrow at the 4-5 turn or gamble for the 6-7 turn? I tried gambling twice. You will not win on DraftKings by gambling Joe Burrow to the 6-7 turn. I haven't seen him there ever. Who do you hate more, Chuba or Goff? Reddit needs to know. Definitely Goff. Guys, I'm telling you, Goff in season long is one of the easiest fades that you will find. Seriously, he's like QB8. You drafted him at QB. What is the difference between Jared Goff and like JJ McCarthy? What's the difference between Jared Goff and Dak Prescott and Jared Goff and CJ Stroud even? What's the difference? Like statistically, it's just there's not enough of a difference. All right, we're coming up. Don't mind Montgomery. We can go that direction. So we have a little game stack going with Carolina and Seattle. Man, this cough. We could get a Denver player with Rashee Rice, but not seeing enough going on there. We could reach for Patrick Mahomes here, which is a very distinct possibility because there's not enough like obvious go-to action. Did someone just took Mahomes? Oh, no, it wasn't even the Kelsey team. All right, hang on. We got to figure this out. I might just go best player available and just take a David Montgomery and then run it back with a wide receiver. Let's see. We'll go Montgomery. And we could go. Oh, did someone take Addison? Yeah, someone took Addison. Let's just go Olave. It gives us a late. We'll go Olave. It gives us a late potential stack. I have Olave over Dunze right now. There's some scary trends with Dunze. I'm still going to be in on him, and I've drafted a lot of them, but I want to change it up a little bit here. Look at this. Naked Mahomes and naked Baker. What are we doing here? Flying out to Charlotte tomorrow for a wedding this weekend. Any recommendations for food downtown? Probably you're going to want to get some barbecue. Look, I'm old now. I have a family in the suburbs, and so we don't go downtown as much as I would like. But get some barbecue, Carolina barbecue. Go to Midwood Smokehouse. There's a handful of them in the city. We actually just went with some of the patrons to one of them in Huntersville, which is one of the suburbs. But there's one in close to downtown that you can go to. Man, I am Got my jug. This team is kind of weird. I'm getting a little nervous about what quarterback is going to look like. We might need to force a stack in the next round. Charlotte's great though, Scott. Hopefully you dig it. I think Charlotte's one of those cities though that's great when you live like in the suburbs and stuff. Like I live north of the city, close to the lake and whatnot, and there's a lot of stuff to do. All right. We're not going to get. I really wish we could have gotten Montgomery with Addison and then run it with JJ McCarthy. This is going to be a fun first live stream draft. I usually try to, on DraftKings, it's a lot easier to sort of be balanced because these rooms can be really wild cardy, right? Like team 2. I mean, that is a wild card team. I could have gone Chase Brown there too and just stacked Bengals like crazy. But that is an interesting team. But even here, you get Kelsey in the 4th, which the other picks are fine. It's not like anything's like that out of control. You get, and then they snipe Shakir from the Josh Allen team. Josh Allen's nice because you can stack him with so many different players. Yeah, Tyler Shuck is going to be my QB1, it looks like. At the end of the day, though, like player takes are important. And if you get the right guys in best ball, even if you're not correlated, you can still find some success. And I do like the guys that I've picked so far, just in terms of their talent profile and their potential this year. So that's good. It's just a matter of really figuring out the late rounds here. And when I figure out the late rounds, I generally, like when it's like this, where things are more up in the air, I generally switch to ADP and just try to follow via ADP. But it could be interesting. I'm not going to say it out loud, actually. There goes Goff. Okay, but he paired him with JMO. So again, do I think Goff right there is a good pick? No. Like objectively not a good, but at least, you're stacking with JMO. It's not the end of the world. And Amon-Ra. It's not the end of the world. You're clearly putting together the right kind of team build. There goes Bo Nix, who I was kind of hoping would fall because I could have the run back with Rashee Rice. But they have a good Denver stack going there. This is one of those teams where I'll probably have to reach for Darnold and Bryce Young. I don't like, is Cooper Kupp still? Yeah. I don't like Cooper Kupp that much at ADP, but it does get me a little stack with Kenneth Walker, and it can open things up. And then he goes. This king string is just sniping me like crazy. I also don't mind Darnell Mooney. And then I also think that we could go Justin Fields here and just get a Mason Taylor or something as like a tight end 4 if we go 4 tight end or something like that. So here's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go Darnell Mooney as 1 because that opens up things for Penix. Probably could have gone Rome and then I would have had Caleb. But if we go Mooney and Fields, we'll get a staple at quarterback in this room that's kind of unpredictable there. I really like Darnell Mooney too. We'll get something at quarterback, and he's one of the quarterbacks that you don't really need to stack heavily. Obviously, I don't have Garrett Wilson. The Garrett Wilson drafter is probably tilting because, although there's no correlation to that team at all, so I don't feel as bad. But yeah, this opens things up now for Penix, right? There's not as many bringbacks in this team for week 17. Got kind of screwed up when the guy inexplicably took Joe Burrow in the middle of the 4th round without any Bengals players. Did have McBride though. Did have McBride. So maybe this Burrow team is going to be a, Yoshi Voss team. What QBs are you comfortable taking at ADP without a stack? It depends. Like, I think that the mobile guys are easier because they can create on their own. So like, and then obviously the guys who have weapons late. Like, I'll take Bo Nix without Cortland Sutton because I know I can get Devon Vele and Marvin Mims, who anyone else later. Kyler, I'll usually try to pair him, but you can get away with getting like Michael Wilson late. Jared Goff, you kind of have to pair him. What's Burrow's ADP on DK? I think it's like 45. I like what this team's doing right here. You got Puka and Kyron. You got the Rams, or sorry, the Broncos stack setting it up for Drake May. If this team gets Drake May, it's a great team. My team's I got to land this thing. How many DK drafts deep are you planning on doing the higher stakes stuff? I'm probably gonna stick to Millie Maker stuff. I've been doing the other like single entry type stuff, and I've been doing a lot of slows. I think I've completed like 30 to 40 slows, and then this is probably like my 10th Millie Maker. So I got to step up because I'm gonna max enter the Millie Maker. So mobile QBs then gives them even more of an edge in my eyes. Maybe, yeah. I actually think they have less of an edge in best ball though, because you're not having to predict, and part of the allure of a mobile quarterback is the predictability of them. So could also, do a late Tennessee stack with this team because I got Olave. There's a bring back in week 17. Do you think week 17 game stacking QBs is viable or always avoid? I think it can be viable. I'm not the right person to ask though. I'm still generally learning, but I understand the notion behind avoiding week 17 game stacking quarterbacks just because you want multiple outs, and if that game doesn't do well, you don't have that other out. Yeah, Slayton Russ. I am glad that I got Fields because look at where these quarterbacks are falling off the board, and we know that, like, again, standalone, he's fine, right? Like, maybe I'll get Mason Taylor late. I don't even remember who I'll look at their depth chart. Yeah, Lazard's still there. Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds has to be unique, right? I could even get like Isaiah Davis or Braylon Allen. Yeah, Mason Taylor has been going early in these drafts. It makes it kind of difficult. My other move that I do a lot, which I might do here, is the old Drake May move or Jordan Love move. Because you can get players, you can get stacks with those guys. There's JJ McCarthy. I do need more running backs. Not really worried about tight end yet because I'm just going to get a lot of them. Kind of in a running back zone. This does feel like it could be Drake May season. Because what I often do is get May, and then I might just reach and might get Kyle Williams to just stack it. It's pretty early. I'm going to do it, actually. This is a classic stack for me. So we stacked New England. They do get the Jets. I wasn't thinking about that, which we just talked about. We literally just talked about this. But I'm going to have a third quarterback on this team. So it's not the end of the world. We literally did just talk about this, though. It just slipped my mind because I wanted to force the New England stack. But I'm going to look at like a Bryce Young as a third quarterback or a Michael Penix as well on this team. Bryce Young would actually fit pretty well. We need some running backs though too, and then obviously tight ends. Yeah, apparently it is viable, Hartman. I'm not like overly concerned because I still think there's a chance, like in that scenario, Justin Fields could have a usable week and that game be low scoring still, right? Just because they're rushing. Penix or Bryce on the next turn, the plane touches down safely. I think so too. Yeah, something like that. It's tough because quarterback, this is the area where quarterback either sits or goes really fast. And then whenever you're at the turn, you do have to force it a little bit because I know that some guys aren't going to be back in the 14-15 turn. I think Bryce fits this well though, because we do have a bring back with Kenneth Walker, and then you can get some, like a Jatavian Sanders, let's say, and start building our tight end room. Like I'm going to get either Mason Taylor or Hunter Henry. That's fine that Carolina and New England both have week 14 buys. Because that's why I'm getting 3 quarterbacks. It just means that Justin Fields needs to do his thing that week. Kyle Williams is really undervalued on DK. All right, let's start looking at some running backs too. The running backs, basically, I just need bodies that are gonna like. I like Rachaad White in best ball. You can see where I have him ranked versus ADP. And for the record, this is a ranking that merges ADP. So I'm even higher than what this says technically. Man, there goes Penix. Look, this is why I'm glad I did that. I took May, right? Like this is what happens in these drafts where these quarterbacks like Tua and Penix going at the turn there. That is scary. It makes things a lot scarier. And there's Cam Ward who just goes. So getting Drake May like a little over a round before Cam Ward and Michael Penix feels very good. You want to be at the beginning of those kinds of runs, even though it wasn't like, directly before it. It came before my next pick. I still only have 2 running backs though. That's a problem. Talked about this with Neil Orfield though on Becoming Best Ball Brothers. You can get those pass catching backs later on DK that can still give you some usable production. Look at these quarterbacks. My gosh. I mean, let's hope Bryce Young falls, right? Also, I have a lot of Aaron Rodgers. A lot of Aaron Rodgers. Which is pretty scary. Can you ask DK why the exposures aren't available unless you entered a DFS in the DFS contest? I don't have enough of a pool to do something like that. Aaron Rodgers time. We'll see. I mean, we know the second team has Mahomes and Mayfield. They might be done. Purdy and Hurts, they're probably not getting a quarterback. Could be Bryce Young. And we could do I have much Calvin Austin? I have some. I've been drafting Roman Wilson too, but it sounds like Calvin Austin is going to start as the 2. Roman Wilson's just easier to draft. I think has a little bit more upside because we haven't really seen it from him. Freiermuth is another guy that I have a decent bit of. But like Rachaad White and Eckler, like if I didn't need a quarterback, I'd easily go those 2 to get some running backs in the room. All right. We got Bryce Young, which I think was good and necessary. And this, I mean, we got him basically at ADP. All my quarterback stuff, I'll talk about this in a second. All my quarterback stuff is a little bit wonky. It's going to be Rachaad White or Eckler. I like them both. I'm trying to think. I want to look at the schedules really quick. Who's Tampa Bay get? Tampa Bay does get Carolina and Atlanta. Okay, we're going to go Rachaad White. I don't know the week 15 and 16 schedules well enough. Rachaad White's interesting though, because I think that he could, because obviously Tampa Bay is good, right? So he could just naturally get work in that offense because they're good. If they have good game scripts, what have you. but I still think that he could be a negative game script back for them. And then on top of that, it's a full PPR platform. And then on top of that, there's contingent injury upside. Like if Bucky Irving goes down, we at least know Rashad White can be a bell cow. Like we saw it. I also love Eckler. I think Eckler is massively undervalued right now. Like, where did Brian Robinson get drafted? Brian Robinson went 9-4 and Eckler goes 13-3. That's wild to me. Their projections don't even look that much different for me. I like Ray Davis too. Maybe not as high as Eckler and Rashad, but yeah, there goes Rodgers. So yeah, we're gonna be throwing some crazy darts at tight end. We're gonna get 4 of them probably in this draft. Because we have 7 wideouts and they're pretty strong. This is the kind of build that you're like, thank God there's 20 rounds. Yeah, I'm so overweight on Eckler right now. It's crazy. We also have to remember to stack a jet. It's hard because Mason Taylor. So let's look at it. We need Hunter Henry, Mason Taylor. Who else can we get? Do we have a Charger? Dalton Schultz, I think, is not a terrible play either. Like, at least we know he's going to have some sort of role. Oh, Jatavian we want also, yeah. We could go Noah Gray too. Whoops. We could go Noah Gray to pair with Rashee Rice. I know everyone's saying Lazard, but there's a chance Lazard's not on that team because of Rodgers. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh, I should have gotten Dobbins. I wasn't even paying attention. His ADP is still low. I would be drafting Dobbins over Rashad White and Eckler. I like Noah Gray too. I've been drafting him in these kinds of builds. You guys see how I got sunburned over the weekend? It's turning. It's not as red as I thought it was going to be on today's live stream. I like Brenton Strange. I've been getting a decent amount of him. I'm just trying to get like tight end bodies next, and maybe a tight end, maybe like a steady tight end and then a running back. But beggars can't be choosers right now, right? We're just trying to get some. We have like a 4 out of 10 correlation. Still red. Yeah, look, it's still red, but look, there's a light on me right here, making it shinier. Makes it look worse. I've got a maroon shirt on. That makes it a little bit worse. All right, there goes Freiermuth. He would have been a nice kind of stable piece. Hunter Henry is really the piece that we want. Hunter Henry is a great pick for this team next. I like Jalen Wright a lot, and he also pairs with Rashad White. You know, Roshan, very undervalued. Look at the difference in Roshan rank that I have. There goes Leggett, which, yes, we need Panthers, but we have Tet McMillan. Thielen went to. Is that an ASU shirt? No, this is a Dickies tee. You guys will notice all I wear is Dickies tees because I don't have to think in the morning. I just put them on. I don't want to have to make a decision about what to wear. All right. Jalen McMillan got drafted. So now we're going to get Hunter Henry for sure. And then let's get Jalen Wright. Okay. Yeah, Coker could be in the stack late for sure. I think this is landing, right? All right, Steve Jobs. Yeah, I know Jobs did that too, but I think it's valid. I don't like having to think about what I'm going to wear. I like having a reliable shirt that I feel comfortable in, that is appropriate enough for like a live stream, right? Because you just see the color. I don't need to think deeply about this. What's up, Lucas? Good to see you. Doesn't look bad at all, honestly. That New England stack is key. Yeah. I think, look, I'm telling you guys, I think the New England stack has been just really, really, like, it's just a really clutch stack to go to in this kind of environment. which is honestly most drafts, because DraftKings is fun. Like DraftKings is so much fun because of this. Like, I think that you're seeing firsthand how like having and doing a live stream while doing this is a little bit difficult because people are talking to me and I'm trying to, chat with you guys and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just trying to have fun with it. But like, when you have a general knowledge of the best ball game, a baseline knowledge that others just aren't going to have, in these drafts, you're able to really adjust on the fly better. And the adjustments that you're making, I think, really come in handy on DraftKings, because DraftKings is more of that like Wild West. You'll see some crazy picks and stuff versus other platforms where it's, more like just methodical and there's less of an art. My thing though is I only have these 4 running backs. I'll probably want 6 running backs. I think the final picks are 3 tight ends. We'll see. We'll see. Kind of want one more wide receiver. Do you guys think I should get one more wide receiver? I have Kyle Williams, Darnell Mooney, Chris Olave, Ted McMillan, Rashee Rice, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. I have 7 and they were used early, but I think that I always feel more comfortable getting 8 on DK, but I just don't think my running backs are strong enough and my tight ends aren't strong enough. But I will get the stable tight ends like a Dalton Schultz and, like I love Hunter Henry. I've been getting a ton of Hunter Henry. You think I can get away with 7 with these 7? Jamar, Higgins, Rice, Tet, Olave, Mooney, and Kyle Williams? Because I could get like Devon Vele at the end and pair him with Rashee Rice. Taysom Hill for his quarterback work? Yeah. I haven't really drafted Taysom, for the record. I probably should get more, though. I haven't really been heavy on Saints for, I like Kamara. I'm always higher on Kamara than the market because his receiving stuff just looks so good. But I haven't gotten as much Olave as I probably should. Yeah, I like Pat Bryant. I think Devon Vele is an even better value at this point. I've gotten a lot of Pat Bryant though too, so don't take that the wrong way. Coker, we got to look at as a potential final wide receiver, but we're gonna get Jatavian Sanders, I think, as a tight end dart. There goes Mason Taylor and Dalton Schultz. That sucks. All right, we're up. I don't really like Kate Otten. Let's go to ADP. Let's get a running back. Let's get Marshawn Lloyd. Just to get a body in there. And then we need a tight end. Chig? We feeling Chig? Let's go with Chig. This might have to be a 4 tight end team. But Tennessee gets New Orleans in week 17, so we do have that correlation with Chris Olave. Dalton Schultz is just like this stable, will probably be tight end 17 at the end of the year, but you feel good about it. I mean, Mason Taylor would have been fine for this build too. I am digging Darnell Mooney. There's some trends that are in the draft guide this year that will make you guys dig Darnell Mooney as well. Yeah, Chig isn't bad. It's not a bad pick. And then now we can kind of throw darts. Here's the squad. All right, so we have at running back, we have Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, and then we have Rashad White, Jalen Wright, and Marshawn Lloyd. I think we probably want to throw 1 more at running back and 2 at tight end. But that leaves us with 7 wide receivers. That's going to be a 3-6-7-4 build, which is definitely unique. Pretty wild build. Yeah, if Coker's there, but I'm thinking Jatavian Sanders though still too. Because that fills the tight end void and it also fills the stack. I mean, what if we go back to back tight end next, and then we kind of have a discussion in round 20 if we should go wide receiver or running back? It'd be a pretty fragile running back team with only Montgomery and Kenneth Walker, but I am betting on Walker being good based on where I drafted him. We'll see what tight ends are there. I mean, my goodness. By the way, at the end of this, what's up, Dynasty Daddy? At the end of this, we're gonna do what we did last year, where we graded the teams out of 10. The team that I drafted. So I want you guys to interact. Also, make sure you are liking the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@lateroundff. Subscribe to the channel, comment on all the videos. The more you guys interact with the videos, the more that these videos do well, the more we have reason to, invest more and do more video content and stuff. So please help brother out. Yeah, now we're just in in Stackville. Although Jalen Naylor without, I guess you get the bring back with Detroit. Never mind. Theo Johnson, not a bad tight end pick in this range. It's weird. There's some tight ends that I don't mind really, really late, whether it's Sanders or Gray. Fannin I like. I'm surprised there's not more attention on the YouTube channel. Listen to your podcast every morning. Yeah, look, I mean, the podcast does far better than the YouTube channel because I haven't really done much to promote the YouTube channel. The podcast has been around since 2017. It's built a good following and stuff, but the YouTube channel, we're still growing. We're trying to do more with it. But the podcast is sort of the foundation of late round fantasy football and this company and the brand. Any interest in Miles Sanders? Yeah, that's another guy we can think about. But I think what we're going to do is get 4 tight ends and everyone argue in chat if we should go wide receiver or running back for the last pick. Because I want to just lock in some tight ends. Although Coker's there. We're definitely going to go Sanders. He might be there at the end of the draft, but I don't really want to risk it. It's just not worth it. So we'll go Sanders here. And then I'm going to go Noah Gray. We're going a 4 tight end build. People are saying running back. I kind of agree running back. Yeah. Look at this tight end room, guys. Hunter Henry, Chigakonkwo, Jatavian Sanders, and Noah Gray. Coker's good value. Yeah, he's good. But to me, anything after round 14, it's it's all kind of the same in terms of expected value and stuff. Arian Smith just got drafted. So let's see. Oh, look, here's David Kitchen. Where's the handsome guy? We have two guys at late round fantasy football. One of them's handsome and one of them's David Kitchen. Just saying. I'm just kidding. So we got a 4-10 end build. Would have been nice to get Trey McBride early. Keaton Mitchell's been a last round dart that I've thrown. You know who we got to do? We got to get Taj Brooks. Taj Brooks. I don't mind Krosky Merritt either. Taj Brooks, though. What if we went Trevor Etienne? No, Miles Sanders. For some reason, I was thinking Miles Sanders earlier was on Carolina still. I already have Rashad White, so I don't really want to get Sean Tucker. Taj Brooks would be. Yeah, someone took Tank Dell. I just realized that. And Amari Cooper. You guys like the Taj Brooks idea? Pair him with T and Jamar. You know, some upside if Chase Brown gets hurt. I don't think I mind this team. That team with Dell and Cooper is just wasting Eckler. I love how we're like Eckler truthers this year, and we're like, you can't waste him. He's got to be on good teams only. It's going to bring down his win rate. Yeah, I agree that Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen, at least. Amari Cooper, there were some rumors, though, that he might retire. So keep that in mind, too. Woody Marks feels like not someone that's going to be that relevant with Nick Chubb there now. And there's been some negative vibes around Woody. I'll tell you what, my favorite last round dart is Devon Vele, because I think he's just going to get you some production. He's not like an upside dude, but he'll get you something. Jalen Coker still being there is tough. But we do have 2 Panthers because we got Jatavian Sanders with, oh, there goes Coker, with Tet McMillan. Yeah, I agree. Taj Brooks would feel like the pick if he can obviously beat out Moss, but I don't want to like let Zach Moss get in the way of a good time, you know? Tattoo that on my back. Don't let Zach Moss get in the way of a good time. All right, we got one more pick. Till the final pick of this draft. Jahan Dotson. We'll go Taj Brooks. We'll stay and check this out. Okay. You guys have to tell me out of 10 how you would grade this draft. We have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins paired up. Rashee Rice, who is nude. I don't think we have any Broncos. Or no, we have Noah Gray. So we have Noah Gray with Rashee Rice. Kenneth Walker, Tet McMillan, David Montgomery, Chris Olave, Darnell Mooney, Justin Fields completely naked. We didn't get any Jets. Drake May, Kyle Williams, Bryce Young, Rashad White, Hunter Henry, Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Chigakonko, Jatavian Sanders, Noah Gray, and Taj Brooks. What are you guys going to give it? I have an idea in my head of what I'm going to grade this. I want you guys to grade this out of 10. What would you give it? I'll go to the other screen. B-. I want it out of 10. 7. So my initial thought was 7. I thought this was a 7 out of 10 team. I think it's usable. Like, it's in play. 6 is fair. I think it's in play. It's a weird build with seven pieces going to quarterback and tight end. But I think we landed the plane after a 6.9. That's perfect. After a tumultuous beginning. Yeah, the second half, I think, did come together. I don't want to be mean, but like a 5. That's fine. You're not being mean. We're going to look on these live streams. We're going to have drafts that, number 1, you just don't agree with me. But number 2, like, the whole point is that I'm doing this and showing you how I'm trying to adjust while crazy things happen. You know, like Joe Burrow going 4-7 to a team that didn't have any. Did they even draft a Bengal wide receiver? No. Completely naked Joe Burrow. At least he got Aaron Rodgers with Pat Freiermuth. But like stuff like that's going to happen when you have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and the team's not going to look as sexy. My thing is making sure that you guys see how I'm adjusting and that I'm adjusting rationally, right? And the fact that people were saying the second half was a lot better than the first half tells me that I adjusted well, and that's good. That's what I care. Yeah, I agree that Garrett Wilson over Rashee Rice would have been a better solution. Garrett Wilson instead of Rashee Rice would make this team a point better. But, hindsight's 2020. Yeah, losing track of positional allocation is huge. That's exactly right. And spending 6 picks in the first 8 rounds on wide receivers allowed me to get more flexible with the tight ends and getting 4 tight ends. We're going to be doing this a lot more often, though. This is the first of many, many drafts. I think Kitchen is also going to be doing some drafts this off season, so it's not just going to be me. So we're going to keep it at that for today, just the one draft. We will be doing more, I promise, over the coming weeks, like many more, especially once July hits and more and more people are drafting and stuff. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in. You guys are the best. It's great to see some familiar faces, or usernames that I saw last year. Should be a great season. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next time.